Hey everybody, this is my Laredo by Keystone. I posted a video a while back on the Facebook group, and my fifth wheel hitch had broken. It was actually the front frame here where it's welded to, right under there. And I did a temporary fix up so I can get it here. And as you can see, it doesn't take much, and there's a little bit of a, hard to see in a video because I'm holding the camera, but I kind of hacked it together where I could to get the trailer to where I'm currently working, which is my storage yard that I rent space. And so this is where I'm at. First step is this cap has to come off to expose the beam, the front beam. So right now I took off all the screws and the molding all the way around. It's kind of held on through the silicone sealer. The next step, well, I gotta remove this screw to get this guy off, but next step, I'm gonna build a bracket on the back of my truck here, kind of like a saddle, and it's gonna kind of back up my truck somewhere around here, so that when I lift it up from the top and peel it off, it'll lean forward and slide into my saddle. So I'm going to weld something to the back of this deck, and I'm going to use a pool noodle for a cushion so that I don't pierce the fiberglass shell. This is an old repair I did years ago. From the impact, it cracked again, so I'll have to repair that and a few other spots here from the damages of this compressing into there. But yeah, and then so this is the first stage. There's this molding here that you peel off. It only stops around at the top, that in the middle there's no molding. They just use a bunch of sealer. So you need a scraper, Phillips square. I'm not sure the size, I gotta look. You'll have to figure that out. Yours might not be a Phillips, who knows. I think it's a Phillips squares. You tell me. And then once I get this cap off, we'll see what else is behind here to see what's obstructing for me to there's a chance I'll definitely have to peel this off. That's easy. That's gonna be after I take the cap off, and I might have to remove the floor on the inside, but we'll see if I can lift up the plywood that's sitting there and maybe put a heat shield on there to prevent it from burning. Then I'll do that because it's quicker and easier. But there's a chance I may have to remove the plywood and the floor, as well as some cabinets that I have inside. I'll take another video of that, get somebody to splice these together for me. Stay tuned. Here I am. I've used my flange scraper to scrape off the sealant. Now you got to be careful on this side, because this is just like a fabric type of thin rubber, and you don't want to accidentally scrape and then gouge into this, because once you make a hole in that little liner, and I'm telling you it's paper thin, you may have trouble sealing it. So just to be on the careful side here. So now I'm going to try to peel this off and see if I can. Seems to have movement, so we'll see here, and it's moving. So I may have to pause the phone to work it, but we'll see if it's coming off. I hope I don't break it. Okay, I better pause this and I will show you. So you see what I'm doing here? I'm pushing with my feet as well as this scraper. And I'm starting on one end and I'm working my way off to the other end. All right, I think I got it loose. Moment of truth. It's gonna drop about 2 inches and then roll forward. And it worked. Holy shit. Oops, excuse my language, everybody. But wow, I can't believe I got it off. And I got it on video. This is freaking awesome. Okay, well, that's how you do that, guys. That's not if you're by yourself like I am. I'm by myself, so hopefully you find somebody that has more experience than I do. All right, I'll continue this video in a bit. Well, sorry for the noise. That's my welding machine. Cut one side out. I'm going to start on this side, and then I'll cut out the middle once I got the space. I even had an aluminum beam here that had broke. I guess when it came crashing up and bouncing, it broke the welds. I did not bring my aluminum welder, but I will definitely grab some when we go home and tack this piece back on. Try not to screw up your vapor barrier here. I kind of did, but I'll replace that. This is stage one, I guess you can call it. Cut it off here. Keep this and put a whole new piece in here. This is only like maybe 3 mil thick. The new piece I have is a 1 inch. You gotta imagine all the weight teeters on this area, all the weight, and it does this, right? So if this is weak, none of else can hold. I'm gonna leave that the way it is. It's welded good enough. I might put a piece of steel over this, grind the weld down, and put we call it fish plate kind of deal onto there just to strengthen it, or reinforcement is what I should say. But yeah, taking it apart wasn't too bad. I will see how putting it back together goes. Alright, this is the mess. Some of it's in there. But putting this side up, I'm going to have to weld in a reinforcing gusset here. Same on that side. Just see this weak there now. As you can see it now, I cleaned up the hitch itself. I need a new vapor barrier. It's melted it. Probably just find a piece of tarp that I have and cut it up and slide it in there. Plastic, anything. Yeah, so here it is. I'm going to have to re-weld the bar back. But I've been at this since about 7:30 this morning, and it's about 11 o'clock right now, so it's not that time. So here I just recreated the stock hole that was there originally to pass this wire to hook up to the plug-in of the hitch. I'm going to put a strip in here to reinforce this, because this is where the welds originally cracked from, I think, and created a weak spot, causing everything else to give up. So I'm going to put just a strip, clean off the weld, put a strip of steel in here, weld it to these two. Say over here, excuse me, and I'm not gonna reinforce this. I was going to put a reinforcing plate here, but I decided that, you know, this is the main pivot point from the hitch, so the weight, I figure there's more movement potentially from the front, and if I secure this, there'll be a lot less at the back. But nonetheless, I'm still going to put a strip here, because even with that weight coming forward, there's going to be this downward force. So I'm definitely going to put a strip onto there. And I did the same thing on this side. Okay, now I didn't have to remove my floor. This steel is so thick with this plate, I do not need to put a weld at the top here. So I just put a wedge in there. The screw from that plywood, it was already broken, so I'm wondering if this work had been done already once before, or something was done here before. So yeah, that's where I'm at now. And then that's it, I think, for this part. And then I'll have to weld this aluminum beam that was here. Kind of what seemed like that. It came across, I guess, when this came up, it hit it and crushed it. So that's this part. Lots to do still. Still got to fix my cap, button this all up. There's lots of work left here. It's a lot of work for one person. 2 people, easy peasy. But for one guy, it's a few days for sure. I'm on my 2nd day. I'm kind of almost done. Like one good day today. That'll be 2 days for one person. Not bad considering. As for putting that guy back on, I think I'm going to use the jig I used to kind of drive it up. I think what my plan will be is to get it kind of under here and then lower the trailer with the legs, and hopefully it'll swing the cap up. I don't know, maybe I'm dreaming, but that's the plan. Alright, I'm about to put my cap back on. I've pulled it up this close. I'm going to try to get up on top of the welder, lean it forward and try to hook the top on first and see if that works. If not, I'll hook the bottom. I don't know, it's going to take me a few shots probably. I think I can get a little closer, but I don't want to chance it. So I'm just going to try to work with that there and hope for the best. Wish me luck. Well, I got the cap on. My jig kind of worked. I had to use my crank to raise and lower it to get it to the right height so I could just throw it on. It was a bit tricky for one person, but I managed to get it on. As you can see, my jig, I was able to park it right underneath. And then over here, I actually rested it on the, because it's a little bit higher, so I was able to make it touch. And I used my pipe stands to hold it up here too, and to line up these old holes. Right now I only have a few bolts on it, screws I should say, just to hold it there. Plugged back in the first thing I did was I plugged in the lights harness, because you kind of use you kind of have to use, excuse me, a screwdriver just to kind of poke that rubber grommet through. At least on my trailer you got to do that. Yeah, okay, so I did that, but it's on. I did cause a little bit of damage in the front, which I have to repair again anyway. So I did a rough fiberglass patch. I'll do a final patch and paint once this is all sealed up and ready to rock. But yeah, if anybody tells you it's impossible to do by yourself, depending on the size of your trailer, I disagree, because I just did it by myself. A very light gauge jig. My other one, however, make sure you tack it good. I forgot to weld it down good over there on that side, and it fell off. So it broke, but it didn't matter, because actually when I was putting the cap on, I pushed my foot against it, and that's what broke it. Not the top. The fiberglass top didn't break it. I broke it myself. So with the tacks have held on its own, I'm sure, but I used, I guess you can say, excessive force, and and I broke it. But nonetheless, the most important part right here held. I didn't drop it, didn't fall back on me, and everything was done safe without an injury. So always be careful if you're going to do anything by yourself. I have nobody here with me. Very unsafe, not very wise thing to do. Not recommended, but I took my time. I didn't rush. I thought about what I was going to do. I really thought about the worst case scenario of what could happen, and I tried to mitigate those risks. So try to be safe. This isn't an easy task, and I don't recommend it for anybody. Unless you're very handy with tools and mechanically inclined. Being in the trades for 35 years, it actually had trained my mind to think outside the box a lot, because oftentimes you got to think outside the box, and it kind of trains you to have that instinctive mentality. So I hope this video is helping everybody. And I'm not a sealer guy. I'm not going to go out and buy sealer myself. I'm going to get somebody who knows what they're doing, who's done this before, and they're going to come in and seal it for me. So thanks for watching. I'm going to try to hopefully get somebody to loop my videos together. If not, I may post them individually. But there it is. Next step will be fixing my legs, because I rigged up my come along to my 5th wheel hitch to the legs inside. That guy right there, and I guess I bent them. Oops. And now it's jammed. So gotta take them off at some point. I'm in no rush for this. The most important thing is to seal the cap and get my fifth wheel hitch nice and rigid, and which it is. The only thing I actually forgot to do is I was gonna put a strip here of steel, and I forgot to do it. It slipped my mind. So there was a lot to think about. I think the welds are stronger than the material that's there, which is why I wanted to put this strip. It's not a hard thing to fix. Let's just put it that way. I mean, if I have to, I'll cut the fiberglass back, give myself room to weld it, and then just, I don't know, tape it up, because I get mice up in here. That's how they get into my trailer somehow. I'll probably enclose this with tape of something or something like that. I don't know. Haven't thought about it too deeply. Anyways, thanks for watching. All right, short video here. I'm gonna put the bottle tape at the top on the roof. And what I want to point out is you don't want your seam of the bottle tape. I've never done this before, but this is how I'm thinking. You don't want a seam where it meets up with a hole of a bolt. You want the seam to be in between, so that way no water can creep into the hole. So I'm going to put this down. I'm going to go across from in between here from the edge to the other side, so roughly into the same spot. And that's how I'm going to run it, and then I might do a slight overlap for the vertical part. Some people told me you don't need to put the bottle tape on the vertical part. Some people say you should. I'm doing extra because, you know, I'd rather be extra safe than, you know, find out the hard way that I should have put it and I didn't, and I got water damage. Just some tips there. So I'm going to do it this way. Okay, I use bottle tape on the vertical rails, as you can see, and then underneath I just stopped in between just before the bolt, about an inch. I stopped there because it's the bottom. Highly unlikely once I put the sealer along here that it's gonna leak. So yeah, and then I gotta change these moldings out on the bottom. I'm not gonna worry too much about it for now, but I will change them out eventually, probably next year. I'm in a storage container now while this clones it, so it'll be dry for the winter, and next summer I'll make sure I seal it. But it's all back on, and then the first stage is gonna be the roof, and I'm gonna put the self-leveling sealer on the roof, and yeah, and then I might trim this actually. I might trim the bottle tape off of here so that when I put my sealer, I don't have to go over the bottle tape. I'll just cut it nice and close, pull it off, and then seal right along that edge. Save on some sealer. All right, now I'm putting my molding back on, and just slide it on. Good thing I trimmed the bottle tape down, so I don't think this would have grabbed. This was bolted on here, so I put some bottle tape here to hold it. And what I'm going to do is when I put the roof sealer, I'm going to seal over this just to hold it down to the trailer so I don't lose it. Maybe I should have put a screw through here, which I might still do, because relying on the roof sealer to hold this down might be risky. I don't know. Also, to get the molding back on, I'm just using this thing, rubber hammer or just a handle here, and you just give it a bit of a tap. You got to use two hands, which I don't have right now because I'm holding my phone, but just give it a tap and it'll go on. Look at that, it's even going on with one hand. So, and you don't have to smash on it, you just tap it. You know, tap it gently, you know, and it just sticks back on. And then after that, you just, lost my breath. You just put your sealer along here and then along here. Now that's a different type of sealer. It's going to be a clear sealer, not a roof sealer.